Good day and welcome. I'm Timotab, and today I'm going to solve Roundabout by Katie Splendor. If you would like to try solving this puzzle for yourself, it'll be the first link in the description. Let's have a look at the rules. Normal sudoku rules apply, so we're going to place the digits 1 to 9 in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Kropki dots. Digits separated by a black Kropki dot have a value ratio of 2 to 1, so if this were a 2, then this would have to be a 1 or a 4. Digits separated by a white Kropki dot have a difference in value of 1, so if this were a 2, this would have to be a 3 or a 1. Okay. No negative constraint. So what that means is that it's perfectly reasonable, subject to other rules, that could be a 1-2 pair, because it's not required that we have a black dot or a white dot there. Okay. XV sums. Digits separated by an X sum to 10. So those two digits will sum to 10. Digits separated by a V sum to 5. And again, no negative constraint, so other pairs can sum to 10 and to 5. German whispers. Digits along a green German whisper line must differ in value from their neighbours on the line by at least 5. So if this were a 3, this would have to be an 8 or a 9 in order to differ by at least 5. And lastly, palindromes. Digits along a grey palindrome line read the same backwards and forwards. So if this were 1, 2, 8, for example, well, in fact, that couldn't be. It would have to be 8, 2, 8, something like that, so that it reads 8, 2, 8 either way that you do it. Okay. I am going to restart the puzzle to reset the timer, and let's begin. All right. Where is the obvious place to start? So let's talk about German whisper lines. The first thing to be aware of is on a German whispers line, you can't place a 5. Because if you placed a 5 on a German whisper, then the next digit would have to be either 0 or less or 10 or more, none of which are valid sudoku digits. That means you have to alternate between high digits above 5 and low digits below 5. And what that means, so let's have a look at why that is. So if this were from 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we try to make this digit 1, 2, 3, or 4, then the maximum difference between those would be 3, but we have a minimum difference requirement of 5, and the same applies for 6, 7, 8s, and 9s. So we're going to alternate between 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, 7, 8, 9. And then the last thing is it's a little hard to place 4 and 6 on lines, because if they only have one partner, so 4 always has to go next to a 9, and 6 can only go next to a 1. So if I made that a 6, say, then both of those would have to be 1s, which I can't do because of sudoku rules. Okay, so what we can do is I'm going to arbitrarily pick one of these. Because we know that we can alternate, I'm going to start colouring. Okay, that's one colour. That's another colour. So what we know is that green will be high and purple low, or green will be low and purple will be high. We don't know which way round yet. Now, this digit here can't be a 5 because it's on a German whispers line. But it has to be adjacent to this digit. It has to be consecutive with this digit. So we can't go from high to low without going through 5, so this must be of the same polarity as this. So that's a green digit. That's going to just color them all relative to each other. So those are all purple. Those are green. Those are green. And those are purple. And in fact, we can actually determine our coloring right away. So these two digits sum to 5. The only way to have two digits summing to 5 are 1, 4, and 2, 3, which are low digits. So our purple is low, and I prefer to have blue as my low digit. And my greens, therefore, must be high digits, which I have as orange. Okay, very nice. All right, so this must be blue because, again, it can't be a 5, but it has to be adjacent to a blue or consecutive with a blue. So that's blue. That'll be blue. That'll be blue. And so will those. And on this one, we can see that this is blue. Those are not. Those two are blue. Those two are not. That's blue. And now this one, this one, this one, this one. These are all orange. So they're all high digits. Very nice. Okay. Oh, now that I think is quite clever. All right. On an X, you always have to have one high digit and one low digit. So that is a set of high and low. That gives us 4 highs in the column and 3 lows. So these two are a low 5 pair. Likewise, these are a low 5 pair. We've already got 3 highs in the column. We've got a low and a high on this X. So that is a low 5 pair. Now, what makes this particularly interesting is that means that because we know we've got a 5 here or here in this column, and we've got a 5 here or here in this column, we've created what's called an X-wing. And what that means is the 5s are either going to be these two, which is one line of an X, or these two, which is the other line of an X. And that means that one of these two cells is going to have a 5 in it, and one of these two cells is going to have a 5 in it. So even though we found the 5s by looking at the columns, we can determine that these 4 cells will not have 5s in. And while that is true, it's probably a little easier to see that because of what we've got left in the box, one of those is going to be a 5, and one of those is going to be a 5. Okay. All right. Okay. This cell is going to be the same as this one by the palindrome. So that means that these two digits sum to 10 and will be a high and a low digit. So we've got 1 high digit there, 2, 3, 4 high digits in the row. This must be low. And that will make that low. And that will make these digits high. Okay. That's high or 5, could go either way. These two digits. So we've got high-low here. So they are 5 and low. So I'm actually going to color those. Same here. We've got a high on one of those two. So these are 5 or low. So any more coloring we can do that's obvious. Well, in this row, that has to be a high-low pair. So that is 5 or low, right? Yeah, I don't have any more highs in the row. Yeah, so that's 5 or low. And likewise, that's a high-low pair. We've got 3 there. Yes. So that's 5 or low, because 5 can't go anywhere. Yeah, if that's low, then that has to be the 5 in the row. Okay, let's start actually looking at some cells, some actual digits here. Where do I start? Okay, this digit is high and it sees 3 different digits. So that has to be 8 or 9. So it couldn't be a 6 because they'd all have to be 1s. They couldn't be a 7 because they'd only could be 1s or 2s. So 8 could give us from 1, 2, and 3. So if that were 8, that would be a 2, 3 pair, and that would be a 1. Or from 9, we can get 1, 2, 3, and 4 in there. So that could be a 1, 4 pair, with that being a 2 or 3. This digit can't be a 4 because it sees 2 adjacent or 2 high digits that see each other. So that's 1, 2, or 3, making this 2, 3, or 4. That can't be a 4 because it sees 2 digits in the same sudoku unit. That can't be a 4 because again it sees those 2, and this has to be from 1 or 2. It can't be a 3 because that would have to be an 8, 9 pair in there. But that gives me a 1, 2, 3 triple in the column, which is useful. Maybe in a bit. All right. This must be 7, 8, or 9 by Kropki. And also because of this, there are 2 digits that see each other, so that couldn't be a 6 anyway. That also can't be a 6 because it's adjacent digits that see each other. And that gives me a 7, 8, 9. So one of these two is a 7, so that can only be a 1 or a 2. Okay. So we've got some other stuff that we... so this now, given that 7, 8, or 9, that must be a high digit. Okay. So that's 7, 8, or 9. Those are from 6, 7, 8, and 9. Those are from 1, 2, and 3. I can't put a 4 there. Or I could put a 4 in those, because their adjacent digits don't see each other. But that can't be a 6. That's 7, 8, or 9, and that makes that high. This one can't be a 4 because those two see each other in the column. Put that in. All right. That can't be a 6 because those two see each other, so that's 7, 8, or 9. That could be a 6. Those two see each other, so that's 7, 8, 9. That's 6, 7, 8, 9. So something more obvious that I'm missing that's given me a proper breakthrough. And I am not yet seeing it. Okay, these are from 7, 8, and 9. These are from 1, 2, and 3. Can't be 4. That one of these could be a 6. In fact, one of them must be a 6. Because if neither of these were 3, then one of these would be a 1, and I'd have a 1, 2 pair here, and it would break the other one. So one of these is definitely a 3. Okay, that seems like an interesting thing to think about. Got something going on here, this extra white dot. Okay. So this has to be from 8 and 9. That best has to be from 7, 8, and 9. These are from 1, 2, 3, and 4, but that one can't be a 4. And these two are going to be consecutive. Okay, those see its neighbors, so that's 7, 8, 9. These do not have neighbors that see each other. This one does, that's 1, 2, 3. This must be 6 or 8. That's a high dot, a high digit on a black dot. That must be low. So that is 3 or 4. Okay. That means that we have 4 low digits in this row. That can't be a 5. I can't put a 5 on a black dot because 10 and 2.5 are not legitimate sudoku digits. If it's not a 5, that must be high because I've used all of my lows in the row. And if it's high on a black dot, it must be 6 or 8, which makes that the 3, that the 6, and we have our first digits. Okay. this is from 1, 2, and 4, and is now low. That gives us all of our low digits in the box, which I don't think I can use strongly yet, but I can remove 6 from there, and that becomes an 8. That's a 4. That's not an 8. That's not an 8, so I've got a 7, 9 pair, and then 6 is in one of those 3. Not going to mark that up just yet. But if this is a 7, 9 pair, then on here, we must have either 2, 8 or 4, 6, so they're even. So this must be 2, 4, 6, or 8 as well. Okay. There must be a 2 on here because I have 2 low digits that are adjacent to each other, consecutive with each other, and not a 4. So it's either 1, 2 or 2, 3 pair. So there is definitely a 2 on there. That means that's not a 2. That also means that that's not a 2 and therefore not an 8. So that becomes a 4, 6 pair, and that's a 4, 6, 4 or 6. So this is now the remaining high digit in the column, and that must be an 8. This must therefore be a 7 or a 9. That is 6, 7, or 9. So one of these 2 digits is either a 6 or a 7. Therefore, that must be a 1 or a 2. If that's a 1, then that's a 2. If that's a 2, that's a 1 or a 3, but it can't be a 3. So we have a 1, 2 pair. All right. That makes this a 3. That makes this 9. It can no longer be a 7 because 7 is too close to a 3. So that's a 7. That's a 1 or a 2. This is a 1 or a 2, so it can't be a 3. This now can't be a 4. Okay. So this digit here is not low, so it's either high or 5. And this digit is also either high or 5. All right. So these two are high or 5, and in fact they're a 5, 9 pair because of what we've got in the row. That's not a 4. So we have a 4 in one of these 3, which means one of these 2 is a 4. The even digit that's on this white dot must be a 2, so that's not a 2. Uh, Okay. There's a 6 on here, so this isn't a 6. That's now a 7-9 pair. So where does 6 go in the row? It's got to be in one of those two, so that makes this a 4-6-X and palindrome. Is there a way I can colour that usefully? Right. I'm going to colour that one green. I don't know whether that's high or low yet, whether that's the 4 or the 6. But that must go like that. Then this one must be the purple one, because it can't be the green one. So that's green. And that's purple. Does that help any? Means we've got a 4-6 pair in the row. So these are from 1, 2, and 5. They can't be a 1, 2 pair. So one of them is a 5. Can't be a 1, 2 pair because of that. Therefore, that's a high digit. Because we've got a 1, 2 pair, we've got a 3, and we've got a definite 4 in there. So all of the low digits are taken up. So this must be a high digit. And it can't be a 6 because of the... in fact, neither of these can be a 7 because of this 3. So this is a 7. Nice. So now I've got 6, 7, 8, 9. These two, by the column, are a low 5 pair, but we've already got all of the lows in here. So that's a 5. That's now low. And in this column, that must be the 5. So that's low. And in this column, one of these two is a 5. It's not a 4 because it's either 5 or high. Okay, that's not a 9 by sudoku. Okay. So we have a 1, 2, 1 or 2 here. We have a 1 or a 2 on this dot. It's either 1, 4 or it's 2, 3. So therefore we have a virtual 1, 2 pair in this column. So this can't be 1 or 2, it must be 3 or 4. Okay. All right, these two must be high digits. Because we've used all of the lows and a 5. And now we've got 4 high digits in the column. So green must be low. And purple must be high. So those are 6s. Ooh. Those are long. There we go. Those must be 4s. Okay. So this is a 3-5 pair, and we know the order because of this 3. So that's 5. That's 3. So this is a 5, and this isn't. That's a 1, 2, or 3. Okay. One of these is a 2. I need an even digit on this dot. So that's not a 2, and nor is it a 4, because we've got a 4 in the column. So this must be where the 4 goes, which means that that's not a 4. This is a 1, 2 pair. And these 2 digits are going to sum to 5. Okay, that has a 2 on the dot, so that's not a 2. This is still resisting a little. All right, the even digit on this dot is an 8. So that's not an 8. That makes this odd, so this must be even. Okay, what am I missing? That's 5, 7, or 9. It can't be an 8 because we know that there's an 8 in one of those 2. We know there's an 8 in one of those 2, so that's not an 8. So these are 6, 7, and 9. If that's 7 or 9, this is even, so it's not. So that's 6 or 8. We've got a 7, 9 pair in the column. So one of these 2 is a 7, so that has to be a 1 or a 2. That gives me a 1, 2 pair in the row, so that's not a 2, and that's not a 3. Okay. Got a 1, 2 pair in the box, and this can't be a 4 by sudoku, so that's a 3. That makes this 4. This is 1. This 4 makes this 9. That's 3. That's 2. That's 1. And we can start unwinding some of this. That's a 1. This is a 3, which eliminates 7 from both of those. There we go. 8, 9 pair in the box, so that is not 8 or 9. That 6, 7 eliminates 3 from there. That gives us a 1, 2 pair in the box, so that's a 3. That's now not 3. Okay. So 4 in this column must be here or here, but it can't be here. So that's 4, which is low. And this is now either high or 5. This 4 means that that is not a 4. This is a 4 and is low. That gives me 1, 2, 3, 4 definite lows in the box. So that is not low. That is a 5. That is a 9 and not 5. And I think that's going to start unwinding our 5s. That's not 5. So that is, and it's not high. So that's not 5. And that is the 5. And that has placed all of our 5s. Right, this is a 6 or an 8 because we have a 7-line pair in the column. This one makes this 2. Where does 1 go in this row? It can't go here because of this one. So it must go here, making that low. That makes that a 2. That makes this high. And is 6 or 7. This 9 makes that a 7, makes this 8. That is a 6-7 pair. That 8 makes this 9. And this 8. That makes this the 8. And that is now 7 or 9. Right, 2 is looking up to there. This 1 is looking up and making that a 2. That's a 1 or a 3. There we go. And where does 2 go in this row? Can't go here. So that's here. This must be a 6, which is high. This must be a high digit. And then this must be a 4, which is low. This 7 makes this 6. This is 7. That's not 7. That's not 6. In fact, that's not 6. This 9 makes this 7, which doesn't tell me what that is, but it does mean that that's a 9 and that's a 7. That's a 1 and that's 2, making that a 1-3 pair. This 7 tells me that this is not a 3. That's a 1. That's a 3. That's a 1. That's a 3. And this is 6 or 8, but by the column it's not a 6. That's an 8. And that's the 6. That makes this 9 and this 8. This is now 6, 7 and 6 and 8, and 9 to complete the box, which resolves this 7 and 9. The 2 in the row makes that 1 and 2, which makes this 1 and 2. And then 9 and 8 makes that 7. The 8 makes that 9. And this must be an 8. That's a really, really nice puzzle. Really enjoyed that. That's got a lot to think about. But I particularly liked how these white dots enabled us to relate all of the outside German whispers to each other. And then I think it was, this dot allowed us to color highs and lows. And then I think it was this dot, yeah, this dot and this dot between them that enabled us to figure out and actually start getting some digits in. So very nice, really liked it. And if you liked this solve, then please hit the like button. You can subscribe to see some more, and I would love to hear your comments. I'm looking forward to next time. Be seeing you.